Hello, friends, and welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. My name is Scott Cowan, and I'm the host of the show. Each episode, I have a conversation with an interesting guest who is living in or from Washington State. These are casual conversations with real and interesting people. I think you're going to like the show. So let's jump right in with today's guest. All right, I am sitting down today with Wade Neal, and Wade is the Assistant Executive Director, per the website, of the Grand Cinema in Tacoma. Wade, thanks for taking the time to sit with me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. So the Grand Cinema, Tacoma, we're going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole before we really introduce you. We're going to talk about that building a lot because you guys your organization's in the process of fundraising to purchase the building.
Yes.
Yesterday when we talked, after we got off the phone, I made a phone call. And I was talking to the Grand Secretary for the Grand Lodge of Washington for the Independent Order of Oddfellows, and I got just a little bit of history on that building that you may or may not know.
Okay.
All right. I am looking at, off camera, I am looking at a document from 1924, dated February 27th, and the Oddfellows Temple Association of Tacoma, Washington's begged to offer the office space for the Grand Secretary as hereto therefore and under the same terms as former lease, that of, and are you ready for what the lease was for the building? $800 yearly with light, water, heat, and janitor services included. My things have changed in Tacoma.
That's shocking.
Yeah. So the plans were to build this building, and the budget was about $100,000. That was, and it was a what appears to be not just one. There was multiple Oddfellows lodges in Tacoma at that time. There was one in North Tacoma, South Tacoma, East, West Tacoma. Imagine that. They were really many of the fraternal organizations were much more prevalent than they are today. As you mentioned before, the Elks and all of that. So this looks like it was a building that was going to be kind of a joint project amongst multiple lodges, a little bit bigger than the typical lodge hall, a little bit kind of designed to be more of the administrative center, perhaps, for the area. That's my speculation on that last part. But anyway, the other part of this is, as a further consideration, if this grand body will pay for the term of 12 years, the sum of $1,000 for each year, then after the completion of the 12th annual payment of $1,000, the rent would become free in perpetuity.
Wow.
So there's a little
in perpetuity.
bit in perpetuity. In perpetuity, yeah. Maybe a little bit of history about the building that you weren't aware of.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so the Grand Cinema takes over part of the what used to be the Oddfellows Hall in Tacoma. It's been there about 100 years, give or take. Yeah.
I think that's right.
Wow, that's kind of amazing. So, how did you tell us? How did you get involved with the Grand Cinema? Are you a Tacoma guy? What happened here?
Sure. You hear my dog in the background,
No,
probably.
we wouldn't even know she was there unless you said something.
Okay, good. All right. Yes, I am a Tacoma guy. I have been here since day one, way back when, in the 20th century. And I went to what was Meeker Junior High and Browns Point Elementary and Stadium High School. And so I love Tacoma. And one of the things that was missing when I was growing up, though, was when I was a teenager, I started getting into what you call weird films like David Lynch or, Stanley Kubrick films and got sucked into, well, what's a Kurosawa film look like, and what's animation from Japan like? Back then it was pretty rare,
pretty rare and exotic, if you will.
Yeah, exotic at that time. Yeah. And so I just started going down that path of art enjoyment.
Okay.
And in Tacoma, we had the mall theater, Tacoma Mall Theater, which is sorely missed actually now, because it was a Cinerama theater that got split into two, but it could have been, a Cinerama. Everybody says, and some people say Cinerama. I say Cinerama because, panorama. You don't say panorama.
No.
You say, no. You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with that. But, and that was sorely missing from Tacoma. We didn't really have an Egyptian theater. Mm-hmm. or a Harvard exit like they did in Seattle, or even the Olympia Film Society, which had been long running. So when I was a teenager, I was pretty adventurous and just jumped on a bus and would trek up to Seattle to go see a movie if I saw it had a good review, And so I've just always been passionate about film.
Okay.
And
so you used to get on a bus when you were in high school to go see movies, and then in '95 the Grand opened. But I want to ask you something.
Sure.
Was the Lakewood Theater still open when you were a kid? Did you ever go there?
Okay, you're testing my memory. The Lakewood Theater, you mean the Village Cinemas?
No, it was in. See, I don't remember the name of it. I want to say it was called the Lakewood Theater. It was in an older.
It may have been, but I didn't know about it.
Yeah, so they used to play the Rocky Horror Picture Show there every Friday and Saturday night in the late '70s, and like Cheech and Chong movies, just weird, kind of that '70s, '60s, '70s culture stuff. And the thing about the Lakewood Theater that I always thought was cool is it was this nice older theater, comfortable seats and all this. It was, but they had a glassed off room for mothers with babies, so that the babies wouldn't disturb the moviegoers. And they had couches in there, and that was a very comfortable place to watch a movie.
I like that.
And
I love couches.
Yeah, this was before theaters kind of picked up on this. Hey, if we have comfortable chairs and serve food, lots of people will sit down.
Sure.
Anyway, we would go there on a Friday or Saturday night for the midnight movie type thing. So I gotta find out about that one. Yeah. I want to learn about it. Yeah, I think by the time you were probably that age, it probably closed. I think it was on its kind of its last legs as a viable business, and I think anyway. Okay, so the Grand opened in '95.
Yes,
and it was for profit at that point.
That's right.
Okay, so let's keep going from there. So let's give us the story here. What?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, the founder of the Grand actually has a connection to a couple other theaters in the Puget Sound area. The founder was meant to start a profit chain of independent art house theaters, and they started the Pickford Theater in Bellingham.
Oh yeah.
And the Grand Illusion in Seattle.
Okay.
And also the Grand Cinema, obviously in Tacoma.
Okay.
I think it was called the Grand Tacoma when it opened.
That seems about what I remember.
Yeah.
Vaguely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, I think they struggled a little bit to turn a profit, and it was going to close down. But a small group of people got together and formed a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. They did what they got together and just had never run a theater before and got it going. Oh, wow. So I think it started with just one screen. I think it had gotten to 3 by the time it was a nonprofit, but and then it has gone through its twists and turns, and we're in our 27th year, and it's been growing and changing ever since.
So how long have you been officially with the Grand?
I have been there since, I was a board member starting in 2011.
Okay.
And I became an employee, an assistant executive director in 2015.
Okay. We were talking about the long and twisting path.
Yes. So, I went to high school at Stadium, and I got into punk, and I came around the time of the Community World Theater, mm-hmm. which was 18 months of insane, amazing music. Mm-hmm. And so I was in bands and did that. And I co-formed a band called Seaweed that was somewhat well known. We were on Sub Pop and a bunch of other record labels, and went to travel around and played music and, had fun and did that. But it was sort of, semi-professional, and did it for about 10 years, but things changed and I went back to school, and long story short, I became a lawyer. So it was
this because of all the bad record deals and gigs?
Kinda, actually, yeah. Yeah, okay. Actually, yeah. I was kind of like, I didn't understand what I was signing. And so I actually intended to become an entertainment lawyer, but I was up here in Washington with my family and did some of that, and still do on occasion. And but that is part of it. I don't understand what I'm signing, so I learned about it. So that was nice. Right. I did a lot of different kind of legal work for about 10 years, and but in 2011 I got a position on the board of the Grand, and then a job opened up, and it's my favorite kind of thing to do, is to be involved in an arts organization, whatever it might be, music or film, theater, and film is a particular just huge love of mine. And It's one of those things where you teach yourself about it if you really like it, so
the community world theater there, that was on about 56 and M, right?
Not just about, that's exactly where it was.
So my grandparents lived on 56 and Asotin.
Okay. So right down the street.
Right down the street. My great aunt and uncle used to run that theater around World War II.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Here's the interesting thing.
And that was a cinema. Was it a cinema around
I don't remember. We are really stretching. I'm not that old.
History.
Yeah, we are really stretching.
You're a young man.
Yeah. But here's the interesting thing. So I grew up in Tacoma. I had left Tacoma. I was living in Seattle area in the mid 90s. I did not know that there was a music scene going on at that theater. And I did not know that Nirvana played there.
Now you do.
Oh, 20 some years later, I knew that. And it's like, how on earth? My grandparents were living, I went to see my grandparents. I saw them every week. I stopped by to visit them. I was right there. I would have gone there. How did I not know this?
Well, it was only like 18 months that it existed. But it was a really short time.
It means I would have been there at least in the neighborhood, at least 18 times. You would think I would have heard something. You would have.
I know. I'm surprised your grandparents didn't say, these punks down the street are causing all kinds of trouble.
Well, they said that, but I always just remember my grandfather being this lovingly cantankerous man. He was the guy who would say, "Stay off my lawn." I am channeling him in my real life nowadays. But no, the point is that anyway. It's interesting you say that. So you were part of that scene.
Yeah, I was a kid.
Where'd you go to law school?
UW.
UW. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so now, what are your day-to-day duties at the Grand now? What is the assistant director?
It's sort of a COO position. It's kind of it's definitely operations related. I oversee the Tacoma Film Festival. We were going to talk about that. Yeah. And actually produced it last year.
Okay.
And I also kind of oversee all the theater operations and building things. And we're going through a software and ticketing website overhaul and upgrade. I manage that.
I'm sure that's going flawlessly. No surprises.
Yeah. Always. It's actually going much better than I thought it was. So it's that's really nice. I thought it was going to be a complete disaster. It seems like it's going okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So plus we have
Don't say too much. So, just don't jinx it.
Yeah, I know exactly. I don't want to curse. I don't want to curse it. Right. So things come up, as you know.
Right. So
So
I warned you things would go off the rails around this show typically.
No, that's cool. That's fine.
This has nothing to do with you. Well, it does. You're going to know this person. I don't know this person. But the director, the executive director is Philip Cowan. Cowan is not exactly a common name. I do not know this.
I was going to mention it.
I do not know this.
I was going to mention it. I figured
this is the second Cowan in a month that has been related to the topic of the podcast. I mean, like, if my last name was Smith, okay, I'd take it in stride. But Cowan's pretty uncommon. What's his background? Is he a Tacoma guy?
No, he's a Texas guy.
Okay, thank you. I feel a little better. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, is this a cousin of mine or something?
Like, yeah, because I have the Cowan family tree that I'm on is very small. I'm an only child. I'm an only grandchild.
Sure.
I mean, anyway, that has nothing to do with the Grand Cinema, but it's the way my brain works. So, kind of the big topic that we want to talk about today is the Save the Grand, what you guys are doing to fundraise to buy the building. So when did you guys, whose harebrained idea was it to buy a building? I mean, that's a lot. I'm kidding. But how long have you guys been working on this project?
This is at least since I joined the board, actually, in 2011 was when the conversation started.
Really?
And Philip was the ED then, and still is, obviously. So, but the conversation started about buying the building when I joined the board in 2011, and it has just been planned since. And when I came on, one of my jobs was to assess the viability of purchasing it, and as far as site location, and compare it to other places, because at that point we were thinking, well, are we going to stay in this building? Because it's a beautiful historical building, but an old building comes with its own set of problems, and we are limited in how much we can expand in it, but it has a very historic feel, and the space itself we've decked out to be really nice, and there are all these costs that moving costs money too. So
right.
So we were assessing all that, and turns out we should stay. That's basically what the answer was. And then we had multiple boards actually during that time, because we have people changing over, but the each board carried on the duty to come up with a plan along with the ED and myself and our chief, who is now our chief development officer, come up with a plan to raise the money. And so we have been planning it and doing a silent phase for a long time, and we raised quite a bit of money in the last few years, or pledged money. And so we came up with a whole fundraising plan, and right now we're about 75% of the way there. So we have about a year to get everything.
Okay. So you guys have kind of a working agreement with the building owner that they're willing to work with these terms that you have.
We have a purchase and sale agreement.
You have a purchase and sale agreement. Okay.
Oh yeah, you're a broker, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a purchase and sale agreement in place.
Yeah.
With the building owner, and you're not all the way there fundraising yet, but once you're all the way there fundraising, then everything goes into escrow. You dot your I's, you cross your T's, and you guys become the owners of this building. Yeah. What I don't remember about the building is the Karina Bakery's in there, right?
Right.
Is there any other retail or professional space that's available in there?
Yeah, actually it's almost full right now. It's it's called the Merlino Arts Center for a reason. The Merlino family took the building and thought, hey, let's focus on the arts in Tacoma here, make it a cornerstone. And it took a long time, but it eventually built into that. So right above us is the Tacoma City Ballet, which is, anybody who studies ballet goes there as a kid, and sometimes as an adult too. And we have Duke's Bay Theater, which is a little black box stage theater. Okay. And theatrical theater, I guess. I don't know. Rambling Saturday morning. And there's like a Tai Chi place, a tattoo parlor, artist studios in there. Okay. So there are all these spaces above that are active.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's actually, I can see the benefit of that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Although you'll become a landlord and all the fun, should we reference an old building again? Just because.
The good thing is it's in really good shape. Okay. It's in really good shape. We had our inspection. We've done all that. Right. We've inspected it. Is in good shape. We had a wonderful architect on our board who has a lot of experience building really big projects. Okay. So he analyzed our report and walked with us, and we had a lot of really good. That's one thing that's cool about the Grand is we have this community of people who love it, right? And they'll just donate their time and skills and advice and stuff. And so we feel really confident about. Obviously, would I love to be in a brand new building with steam pipes that don't knock in the winter and things like that. Yeah, sort of. You know what I mean? Like
it's a trade.
You lose a lot. You lose a lot of the feel.
Right.
And I think we have such a strong community of passionate film goers there. You know, we have about 4,500 like paying members who get a discount and things like that.
Right.
That's a lot. I mean, it used to be more before COVID, but we've kind of had a little, we had a challenge bringing people back after COVID. That's just the way it is. But they would go crazy if we moved. I think it's just one of those things where a city, it becomes attached to the city and the heart of it, and becomes a part of the heart and the soul of it. So people really, that's almost half of the reason why you would want to stay in a building like that.
Well, and
once you move that, you lose all that goodwill. That goodwill towards the space.
Yeah, you absolutely you lose the goodwill. New buildings have certain. I mean, let's be honest. Modern building techniques are advanced.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're better sometimes.
Right.
So, I mean, I if it were me personally, if I were buying a house, I'd prefer to buy an older home that's in great shape versus a new home. I mean, I walk through new construction and.
Right.
Okay. And that's a cool building, great location. I really think, not that my opinion counts at all, but I really do think that's a really good, smart, solid choice that you guys are doing this.
Thank you.
So you've had this fundraising program going on for a while, and I'm going to say you're in the public outreach phase of it now, and you're doing some things for fundraising, and that's the other reason that we're here today to talk to, is you guys have an upcoming special event that we're going to talk about in Merylthon.
Let's talk about it.
So Merylthon, as I'm reading here, is a marathon of Meryl Streep films.
Yes.
How did you guys, there's lots of actors and actresses that you could do something like this with, right? But how did you guys land on Meryl Streep, and let's walk through that, because I think there's got to be some fun here that we're gonna talk about.
Well, this walked through the door. So when we started this campaign, the public phase, we're in the open. We announced it last year. People are asking, what are you going to do? A gala? Are you going to do, are you going to do auction? And what are you going to do to get the word out? And one of the things that's different about being in a theater is, if you were at a museum, you do this once a year and, you don't have as many people coming in the door. But with a theater, you have people coming in every day. So you get an opportunity to use exciting events that you hold as a connection to the fundraising.
Right.
So like we did a what I call a film awards party, where we play a film awards show that will remain unnamed because of trademark issues that were given to us by letter a long time ago. Okay. But we had a big party and made kind of a VIP experience for that and connected that to the Save the Grand campaign.
Got it.
So our board members, we have two great board members, Ryan and Whitney, who have the connection to a pair of folks in San Francisco who run a fledgling operation called Cinema for Good.
Okay.
And they brought this idea because they ran this Merylthon in San Francisco, and it was very successful there. And so we thought, and they want to experiment. And we said, we're a small town. We're not Seattle. We're not San Francisco. And they said, we don't care. We think this can map anywhere. And we said, okay, well, they brought so much detail to the weekend that they want to build with Merylthon. Mm-hmm. And why did they strike on Merylthon? I think Meryl is special to a lot of people. She is a national icon, and there's a part of it that she's a bit of a queer icon that is, and nobody really sort of knows why, I think, or they're discussing why. The founders of Cinema for Good, Ryan and Evan, they have a panel. Why is Meryl Streep a queer icon? Let's talk about it. And so we're going to have a panel with some great hosts discussing that on the Sunday, after the Sunday screening of Cry in the Dark.
Okay.
The Dingo Ate My Baby film, if you're not familiar with, you remember that one?
I never saw that, but that line right there. Oh my God. Okay.
That's the one. That's where the Dingo Ate My Baby comes from. And so they do it. And what really appealed to us is that they partner with local artists. Like even though they're not from our town, they just called everybody and got connections to people who are interested in getting involved with the Merylthon. And so they have custom posters, and they have a Merylthon that they're creating with actually our amazing one of our managers, Naira, is a seamstress, and she's going to sew a Merylthon, THONG, for collection and display. It's just got all this, and there's like a Meryl museum that they bring. So it's got all this extra added stuff, and we're going to have hosts each night doing kind of hosting people through the event, getting them all excited about it. There's a drag host each night.
Okay.
And so it's just going to be a blast. And it's also in connection with Pride, because June 1st, we're talking on June 1st, it's Pride Month. Tacoma's Pride Month is typically celebrated in July, but we want to have Pride related events throughout and also throughout the year. And so that kind of matched up as well. So we're just like, let's go for it. And so, 5 screenings, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Price is a little bit higher at $20 a screening, but the proceeds go to Save the Grand after costs are covered. So, okay. Plus, that's what people have been asking. What should we do? What are you going to do? Are you going to have any parties or anything like that? This is for us, these are the kind of parties we're going to have.
Right.
That show, just to get people, and it's more about having a good time than raising money. If you come to the films and enjoy yourself and pay the entry fee, that's really all we ask. But of course, there's going to be opportunities to give too. So
you won't say no if somebody wants to contribute something else.
I'll never say no if somebody wants to contribute at a level at which they are comfortable.
That's awesome. So what 5 films are you guys screening?
So the first night is Doubt and Death Becomes Her. So they have they just put it in as a double feature, Doubt Becomes Her. And then they put a poster together. The posters are done by this fantastic local artist named Jillian Nordland. Okay. And she is so talented and has her own. I have a piece of her work in my house. It's so great. She has this incredible style that's very whimsical and feminist and kind of a blast. It's just, her style is just, she should be internationally known as far as I'm concerned. And I just love what she does. And so she put together the poster for that one. And it's really cool. Okay. Then the second night is She-Devil and Devil Wears Prada. Okay. So She-Devil's the one with Roseanne Barr. Oh, yeah. Or Roseanne Arquette, or what? Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr. Yeah. And yeah, right. I see your expression there. Yeah. But now, anyway, she's sort of become something. Anyway, yeah. Well, she was quite a devilish person, as always. I think her act was anyway.
Correct. Yes.
But so that one I look forward to: Meryl Streep versus Roseanne Barr.
Okay.
Which I haven't seen that one in years, but it's one of those silly '80s movies that is beloved by many. All right. And so but and then on Sunday we just have one film, Cry in the Dark, The Dingo. That's quite a good drama. It was originally called Evil Angels in Australia, but they changed the name for the international U.S. market.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to have the panel afterwards to discuss Meryl as an icon, and there's going to be beer and wine and social time before and between. There's a whole schedule up on the website, and it's going to be fantastic.
I'll make sure we put a link to the show notes to it for people. Okay, excellent.
Awesome.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You can only go to one of those 5 films. Which one are you going to?
I got to go to Devil Wears Prada.
Okay.
That one's,
That's it for you? Okay.
Yeah. That's the one. If I have to pick one, I'd go to that one. All right.
Now, is this part of your job that you have to sit through the screenings? You have to go and be in the audience?
I'm delighted to sit through any screening. I'm a movie freak. I've seen a movie. I saw a movie that I saw at Sundance 3 times now this year. Not on purpose. I usually don't rewatch movies, but anyway, that's a longer story.
Okay. All right.
It was like somebody I knew my wife hadn't seen it, so let's see it. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Did you go, topic shift, but movie related, but did you go up to the Seattle International Film Festival this year? Did you see anything?
I went to, I went to opening night. We had this website transfer, so I didn't have time for anything else.
Right.
And so I've just been slammed. But yeah, I went to opening night and that was great.
All right.
That was a film. Go ahead.
This may have to get put onto the cutting room floor, but I'm going to ask a question. There was a movie from Tacoma in the Seattle International Film Festival this year. Isaac Olson.
Yes.
And the Peterson brothers. Rainier Beer.
Yes.
Please tell me you guys are going to just have that on at the Grand sometime.
We will screen that.
Awesome.
And I would leave it on the cutting room floor just because talks are in process right now.
Well, how about we leave that in as peer pressure to make everybody agree?
Okay.
We're going to leave that in because
okay.
I interviewed those guys.
Oh, good.
And a couple of years ago, actually. And I sat down with them, the three of them, at their studio in Tacoma. And I actually got to see the cans of film because they still had them in their studio from the museum. And, okay, so as a kid growing up, those commercials in the 70s and 80s were really, really iconic. I mean, you can't get them out of your head. I mean, and that's not necessarily a compliment sometimes either. But, I mean, Rainier Beer did a brilliant job. And those three guys to tirelessly work to come up with this thing and put it together and kind of will it together in the sense of finding the treasure trove of original footage. I'm really disappointed I didn't get to go see the film. So why I'm pressuring you to say, make the Grand say yes, and them to say yes too. It's going to happen. I know. I mean, it's a Tacoma thing. It makes perfect sense. I'll be able to go see it. So I will come to the Grand so I can see it. That's the point I'm trying to make. So for my selfish needs here.
Oh, it's for you.
Selfish, it's for me, and I want to see the movie in the Grand.
I've seen parts of it. Well, that's one thing that's cool too is we really can be part of the filmmaking community in Tacoma too, and the Northwest really. But Isaac started making movies in connection with the Grand early on as a teenager. He was making the zombie movies at our 253 second film contest where people have to make a short film over a weekend. Okay. And he just continued on. He loved film and he continued on. He became a professional filmmaker and made amazing pieces of art. Yeah. And, we've always been there. We've always tried to, hey, you can, they rented out the theater to test, cuts of the film. And the Petersons are amazing guys. I love their passion for the Northwest and Tacoma and just odd stories. I just hope that they can continue making these amazing films. And I actually did a little bit of legal work for them to have a contract between them and the Washington State Historical Society so that for the transfer of the film, for the land. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't remember which one of the Peterson brothers it was, described his journey to LA with the film in the car, basically couldn't let it out of his sight as he had to drive it from Tacoma to Los Angeles. And I was just I had this vision of him having a briefcase with handcuffs on it, type, just a cool story. And I love, see, that's how I love how it ties together in the sense that, Tacoma is involved in the making of that film. The Grand in Tacoma is going to be able to play a part in displaying that film that was made in Tacoma to people who live in Tacoma. I mean, it's a cool synergy. So I agree. We're going to bounce here. And normally I would ask these a little later in the show, but we're going to just, because I kept saying Tacoma like 4 times in a row there. It's like the magic word, POF. All right. I'm a coffee fan. Where's a great place in Tacoma to get coffee?
I have to say, can I say 3 real quick?
I guess. I mean, no. I'll have to go to all 3, so please do.
Well,
please do.
Try Lander Coffee. It's near my house. It's right on 21st Street by Magoo's. Magoo's Annex.
Yeah, I know Magoo's Annex.
Yeah, it's about, it's on the same block. They have been a couple different coffee places. Now it's called Lander Coffee, and it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one?
Bluebeard, of course. I love Bluebeard.
Okay.
They actually, and we serve Bluebeard at the Grand.
Okay.
Just drip. And then Valhalla.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can say I've been to 2 out of 3, so I can say those two are very solid choices. What's your go-to drink when you go to one of these places?
I've been doing an oat milk latte lately.
Can I give you a hard time?
No.
What on earth? Okay, I'm going to anyway. What on earth is it with people with oat milk lately? It's so...
It's good.
Okay.
Well, I actually picked up on it in... I try to avoid dairy, and so I was going for almond milk, but almond milk's terrible in coffee. It doesn't work right to me. It's very, very bitter. But oat milk actually works pretty well. And actually, I traveled to Sweden last year, and it's oat milk everywhere. Same brand we have over here, that Oatly.
Really? Okay.
And that's every single place you go, buffet or whatever, they got Oatly.
Okay.
Or a coffee place.
All right.
So, and I guess kind of got used to it.
Okay.
So oat milk. I milk it myself.
Okay. I'm in Tacoma around lunchtime. Where should I go where's a good place in Tacoma these days?
I like Indo Asian, I think it's called Indo-Asian street food or something like that.
Okay.
And it's right in the Stadium District. Let me make sure it's called the right thing. Let me make sure I know the right.
You're fine. It's been a few years since I've been in the Stadium District, so I know things can change.
Indo-Asian Street Eatery. It's just good. They've got really strong recipes and awesome service, and it's a fun place to go for lunch, and it's light.
All right, variation of this. I'm going to put you on the spot. In your building, you have a bakery. What's the must eat thing at that bakery?
Oatmeal raisin cookie. No, the warm chocolate chip cookie. That's new.
Warm chocolate chip. So but a cookie. It's safe to say a cookie. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's for me.
That's for you. That's
personal.
That's
okay.
Just
my personal choice.
That's good. No, that's the thing. I love talking to people because everyone has their, we all have our take on what we like. And, as I told you before, I grew up in Tacoma. Tacoma's changed a lot since I was a kid. And I lived there for 10 years after when my son came to live with me when he was a teenager. We lived over in the Stadium District there. And he and my daughter both graduated from Stadium. Actually, my daughter didn't graduate from Stadium. She did her senior year as an exchange student in Norway. She had a great time.
Fun.
Yeah, great time. Grades didn't make it, but she had a great time, great experience. And she actually lives in Austria now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she got a job as a nanny in Germany, and met a guy, and they've been married 9 years now, and 2 kids, and lives in a little town in the Alps, or just the foothills of the Alps in Austria.
Do you get to go visit? Have you visited?
I have not
over there?
gone over there because. Have you priced? Okay, Coach Seats and I don't get along. I'm tall. I need legroom. I don't like to fly.
Right.
And have you ever priced first class airfare to Europe?
That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
So
there's always the cargo ship. Just jump on a cargo ship.
That's more likely for me
as a merchant marine.
I might do that. Actually, what we try to do is get her. She comes over to the States 2 or 3 times a year, and the grandkids come over once or twice a year too. So, COVID messed that up a little bit, but
sure.
I see her more than you would think. All right. Well, what else is the Grand doing to save the Grand? What other things? I want Merylthon to be a smashing success, but I don't think by itself it's going to push you over the magic number. What else is the Grand doing?
For fundraising or just in general?
Well, either way, because it all kind of is doing both, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going in front of all of our audiences, giving them a pitch. We're sending out emails. We're rallying support from our members. We're just branding the heck out of it. We're selling the names. One of our theaters is going to have a name of somebody that I cannot reveal until it's done. But,
okay.
We really want to sell the popcorn machine name, because right now it just says popcorn. And I was thinking, what'd be cool if you could name the popcorn machine? Now that's a central piece of the theater that everybody's going to see.
Iconic part of movie going is popcorn.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because you have this there's a little strip of plastic you could take off that's lit, and it just says popcorn, and it could say whatever you want.
Whatever. Yeah.
It could be the Scott Cowan popcorn machine.
Yeah,
if you want,
it could be.
if you had a lot of money.
If I had a lot of money, yeah,
yeah,
so
which you do. I'm just going to magically will you all the $1 million, and then you're just going to
if you make it, if this is all about what's the secret? What was that all about? Affirmations. Like if we're affirming that I have $1 million, if it shows up in the next 12 days, I will send it to the Grand. Okay, I will. Day 13, I might keep it, but in the next 12 days, I'll send it to the Grand.
Okay, binding agreement.
I'll honor that.
Meeting of the minds.
Yeah. So you guys are thinking about doing kind of like sponsorships for various. You're going to have a sponsor for a theater. You're going to maybe sell naming rights to the popcorn machine.
Oh, this is ongoing.
Okay.
We have our development officer is amazing, and we are on the phone all the time. We're meeting with all the right people. We're talking to the state. We have foundations who are backing us. Mm-hmm. And so we still have a lot of those plans in place too. So yeah, this is not just a dream of what we will do. We are just doing it right now. It's a plan that's just it's ongoing, and it's bringing in support as much as we can. So yeah.
Well, a lot of places, like I think back then it was Safeco. Now it's T-Mobile Park. They sold bricks. You could put your name on a brick. Here in Wenatchee, Pybus Market, as a fundraiser, they sold bricks, and you could have your name etched in it, and it would be put down in the pavilion there around Pybus, the farmers market. There's a lot of I'm aware of a lot of things, people doing things to get community involvement, community support. Is there anything? I haven't been in the Grand 20 plus years, so I might have been in it when it was for profit. But the floor in the lobby, is it carpeted? Is it tile?
It's carpet.
Yeah, so you couldn't really. But you couldn't really do anything there. But
we have seats, but we want to save that for the seat to raise money for new seats. That'd be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we the naming, like an individual name, like if you pay X amount, you get your name on a portion of the building. That's totally in the works. Okay. That is something like that is likely to be more towards the end of our campaign.
Okay.
Because right now we have little steps that we're going through, and I'm not exactly sure what that looks like, but there could be something similar like that towards the end of the year.
Yeah, see, it's great. I think it's a great way to get the community
Christmas,
involved and
holidays,
all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have 3 screens now.
4 screens.
4 screens. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Walk me through kind of the movie selection process in general. How do you guys decide what you're gonna?
That's a good question. Our executive director, Philip, is the primary programmer. I'm the secondary programmer, but we have a staff of about 15 people, and we're kind of a horizontal organization where we sort of hire people who are movie lovers too. Mm-hmm. And we often throw ideas around about what to program. I'm kind of a chief programmer of our individual series that we have. Like we have a late night series. We have a nostalgia, like a repertory series that I book, and we have, we have an outdoor film series that's another person takes care of that. So we have a kind of a collaborative way to program. A lot of the main titles are pretty similar to what the Pickford, SIF, the Rose, and Port Townsend. We all are kind of part of this constellation of art house theaters that selects kind of from a similar pool of labels and studios and things like that. For instance, like right now we're playing Ezra, started Robert De Niro. It's a comedy drama. It's I can't remember who is the studio, but it's one of the ones we go to play some of our major hits. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of look at what fits our fits commercially and also artistically. And we also have a dedication to promoting the art of film. So that's why we look back to repertory film series that are exciting and also educational to people so that they can actually, they're always like, for instance, I did a mystery movie last week for our late night series, 2 nights in a row. So I can reveal what they were now because I kept it secret. nobody knew what it was,
Okay.
except for the staff. And then people just came. I had about 50, 60 people at each screening, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, they want surprise. They're tired of being told, by Netflix what to see. They're just going to trust us and take a leap.
Okay.
And so I played Dr. Strangelove, and I played Slumber Party Massacre, which are both sort of like iconic films in their genres. And I was so excited because people would come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm so glad you played Dr. Strangelove. I know people have told me I have to see that film, and I have not seen it. And so you made me watch it, and therefore now I've seen one of the greatest movies ever made." Okay. And so it's very exciting to me to be able to open that door and bring people in to celebrate some of the great films of the past, the great films of the present and future. And so that's one thing that really strikes me is different about the Grand, is that we really work to build a community, of people who share that common interest, and then we make sure that we're a place that people feel like comfortable and accepted and safe, and they want to be a film nerd. That's what they are, right. Or they want to be just want to see something to have fun. You can do that too. Give them a wonderful, comfortable place to be, and a comfortable lounge to chat about movies, and bring in professionals, academics to talk about films from time to time. We add all kinds of elements around the film to make it more interesting for people. So like Merylthon, mm-hmm. where you added in a Meryl Streep museum and a host and you know what I mean? It really adds to the experience of the movie going. And it's once you've seen an event like that together, you've formed a little community. And it's my belief that if you don't have those kind of places, your city is just not the same. And you have less connection between people if they're just, oh, okay, I just watch whatever the algorithm tells me tonight at home by myself. It's just not as much fun. And so those are the kind of that is how we decide. It has to fit into the spirit of the art of film, mm-hmm. the community of film.
Do your patrons ever, I'm sure they do. Do your patrons ever suggest that we want you to show this?
All the time.
Do you ever listen to them?
Yes. Mostly. Yes, absolutely. We have such an awesome community that they have good taste, right. And sometimes they'll hip us to a movie that we hadn't heard of before, right. or like one that's coming up, especially newer things. Right.
Right.
And we definitely take it into consideration. It's always a balance. You have to figure out how much does it cost? How long can we run it? How many people are going to come?
Right.
How much marketing oomph do we have to put behind it and everything like that? You balance all those things out and you go like, okay, let's try it. Or, well, that one's not going to work because only 8 people will come.
So I'm going to ask you, I love to ask this question of businesses. And so this is a negative question, but I actually think
good luck.
A lot can be learned from this question.
Okay, let's hear it.
So did you ever go, oh, we should have this movie? Like, this is going to be a hit, and it just didn't work?
Well, let me think about that for a second. That's a complicated question. Yeah, well, so I'm trying to think of a good example of that. I would say yes, but it's never a sure thing, Right. It's never sure until people start coming in the door,
right. Yeah.
But there have been times where we've spent time promoting a film and it didn't click for some reason.
It didn't work.
Yeah. I can't think of an example right now.
That's
but
okay.
Yeah.
See, I think we learn a lot from that type of situation, though.
There's some movies that come out that you think, oh, it's on this such and such studio and this star is in it, and it's a really good movie. Mm-hmm. And I liked it. It's got good reviews. It's a New York Times critics pick. And for whatever reason, it's just, it may or may not strike.
It didn't work in Tacoma.
Yeah. Or anywhere else either. So who knows? But it's a complicated formula that is more art than science. But, you try to figure out how to get people in the door, but also make sure you're playing things that are of a certain sophistication, and also things that are more esoteric, so that your real cinema fans will get deep with you.
Okay. All right. I did not know about this until literally, I think while I was we even recording, I kind of learned about this. So Tacoma has the Tacoma Film Festival. I didn't know.
Yes.
I did not know that Tacoma had a film festival. So the 2024 version of it's going to be October 10th through 13th. And per the little blurb I'm looking here, if you haven't submitted by today, folks, your late submission deadline's passed. June 1st is we're recording this on June 1st, and it'll be out later than that. So late submissions have passed. How long has Tacoma had a film festival?
Since 2006.
Okay.
That was the first film festival and it was started by the Grand Cinema.
Right.
And so it's a part of the Grand Cinema's programs.
Okay.
But we do have an extended deadline filmmakers out there who are hearing this on another date besides today. We have an extended deadline to June 21st.
June 21st. Okay.
Yes. So 3 weeks.
All right. About 2 weeks by the time this is live, folks. But hurry up and
2
get your
weeks.
films.
Hurry up.
So it started with the Grand Cinema. So are there other theaters in the Tacoma area that are participating in the film festival?
Most of the time we have been at the Grand as the prime location, and we have reached out to and been at other venues like in 2019 we were even at the Pantages Theater, which is 1,200 people or something like that. Yeah. We had something like 700 show up.
Wow.
We always partner with the Blue Mouse, which is in Proctor, and we will do so again. We're making a little bit of a change. It's October 10th through 13th this year, and we typically have been an 8-day festival, but I have always advocated that less can be more, and one of the goals is to have a shorter but more impactful weekend festival. So we're going to have a couple more. We'll have more screenings at the Blue Mouse and at the Grand, but in a shorter period of time. So there might be some crossover programming. But I feel like it's going to be very exciting because we went from having no filmmakers show up to we often get about 100 filmmakers traveling to the film festival from the Northwest and elsewhere.
Wow.
To participate. So yeah, there's a lot. It's actually really well regarded. We really worked hard to be attracted to filmmakers, especially new filmmakers, people who are on the cutting edge of making film, experimental films, late night stuff. It's a very general film festival, but we have created an atmosphere of collegiality and like warmth that has really attracted filmmakers to want to come and see each other's work and spend time together. For our size, we're not a big film festival, but we are really people are really excited to visit. And so that aspect of it, I think it'll be more exciting on a weekend because then the filmmakers you have to come on the weekend. A lot of the filmmakers that we have are working filmmakers who teach film or, work in film outside their own projects or television and things like that. So it really helps to be on the weekend as far as like, that's when everybody gathers. So we have parties and panels and, screenings, obviously, and post-film discussions that are just super exciting, add an extra layer of understanding to the art of film. And I think this year is going to be amazing. I'm really excited about it because of that truncated aspect of it. Anytime you run an event, you hit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's a hard time to bring in the people who work. You know what I mean? It's challenging. So unless you're Sundance or, even then Sundance, that's the low, if you go to Sundance, that's the low time for their Monday, Tuesday is a little bit quieter, although, it's busy. But so I'm super excited to have this kind of weekend jam, get it done, have an amazing time, and start planning for the next year.
All right. We're going to wrap this up to respect to your time. What didn't I ask you that I should have? I mean, we've covered kind of the Merylthon, which I encourage everyone to go out and check it out because, there's some good movies there in that list. And I think it's that sounds really fun, what you guys are doing. And it goes to a good cause. You got your fundraising going on. You got the Tacoma Film Festival coming up a few months from the time we're recording this, but who knows when people are listening. It might be next weekend, and you should get out and go see it. But what else didn't we cover? Is there anything else that we overlooked?
I mean, we're talking about the universe of film, which is infinite. And so to narrow down what you missed is impossible, because you and I could sit here and talk for days about the what film is, what its future is, and what it has been. I would just say that I'm just super excited to be part of the world of cinema right now, even though people are always saying since they started started showing films in theaters, they've been saying, oh yeah, well, films are going to be dead by 1922, and yeah. And they keep saying that, but I just, I guess what my question to myself is like, why do you think film is so important? To me, it's sort of they used to say, math is the queen of sciences, and I think film is really one of the most amazing art forms that people have ever come up with, because it takes every art form and combines them into one. So you have, and it takes so many people to create it, and it's so expensive, So because you have artists creating backdrops, and you have acting, which is one of the most difficult art forms there is. It is so challenging, and I have so much respect for it. And so you have so many aspects of different arts, music, obviously, composing, special effects, technical wizardry, all these kind of things have to come together to make even the most basic film. And it's something that binds our culture like no other. So I'm just really proud to be a part of it. And I love Washington's constellation of film festivals and cinemas. And I think you're just having this conversation makes me excited to go on. I did a few summers ago. I did a tour of, my wife and I did a road trip where we had a new dog, the one that was barking earlier, and she was just a puppy. So we said, okay, well, let's go on a road trip. And in the daytime, we'll go to find dog parks. And at the nighttime, we'll go crack the windows at night when it's cool, and go in to see a movie at a cinema. So we went around to Oregon and Washington. We just had a blast seeing all the different art house type movie theaters. So if you ever get a chance, visit the Grand, visit the Pickford, visit SIFF, visit the Rose in Port Townsend. And those are amazing places in Washington that are really deserve support and are so much fun. I've been to the Pickford, been to the Rose, been to the Grand a long time ago. So come back. We'll have you. I'm sure we'll have you back soon. You're in Wenatchee though. Yeah. Central. You can go anywhere from there. That's the beautiful location. We moved over here 7 years ago, and Vancouver's kind of a drag to get to, distance wise, but Tri-Cities is only like 135 miles away. Spokane's 160. Seattle's 160. Tacoma's about the same. Bellingham's a little harder to get to because the mountain passes. Oh yeah, but the passes. But I've lived here all my life, and this summer, well, actually that's not true. This spring, April, I went over to the North Cascades Highway for the first time ever. What a beautiful! Oh wow! What a beautiful, amazing drive. Oh, I've only been once too, but it was great. Yeah. Because I had to go to Bellingham, and it was awesome. So, when you're not talking and thinking film, what do you like to do for, like, you've got dogs, so we heard dog park, but what else do you do? I play music by myself. Okay. I play music by myself. I actually like, I have kind of a vintage audio interest. Okay. I get speakers and old amplifiers and things like that and listen to them. Okay. Record players and all that. So when you say vintage, what do you? I'm looking at my Kenwood Supreme Model 600 from 77, I want to say. Okay. Silver face with a giant control in the center. Yeah, that kind of stuff. What sort of speakers? I'm looking at a couple right now. I'm looking at a couple of Braun, which was the predecessor. That's the same. The Shaver company started off also making speakers. BRAUN. Yeah, I did not know that. Okay. And they're the predecessor to what became ADS speakers. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they're shaped a little bit like the second iPhone, which I found out this was actually an influence for the shape of the iPhone, the design. Really? So yeah, the specs, and they're wood, and they have kind of I guess it's sort of a tan original cover, but yeah, they're these German speakers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And so
I have in my other room, I have a Hafler amp and preamp that are attached to a couple of speakers called Ohm Walsh 3s that are kind of a pyramidish look to them.
I do.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what music? What do you listen to? What's currently on the turntable?
And because so I kind of came from punk and grunge, and my dad was a choir teacher, and so he loved classical and vocal work, and and my mom was the amateur folk guitar player, and so I have a lot of background in music from my family, and my uncle was like a bluegrass player, and can't say I'm much of a bluegrass person, but that's okay. Some people are. Yeah. But I like right now I really like ambient and music, like old ambient, like Brian Eno, and the piano player Harold Budd.
Not familiar with that name, but okay.
Yeah, Harold Budd. He passed away. He died of COVID actually a few years ago, but he was a fantastic composer. Okay. And so he collaborated with Robin Guthrie from the Cocteau Twins a lot.
Okay.
And so there's some amazing records. I guess some people probably call them new age, but I don't like that. I don't really like that term.
Like that moniker?
Not really. It's not very. I don't think they do either. But also I really like experimental composition from the 70s up to now, like Steve Reich, like music for 18 musicians and things like that.
All right.
Electric Counterpoint, parts 1, 2, and 3, and I like techno music from the 90s and I don't know, jazz, John Coltrane. Everybody says that, but
yeah, everyone says that.
Actually, but I do like it though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not lying.
No, well, so I actually have a Coltrane adjacent story. I probably 2006, 2008, struggling real estate agent, single dad with 2 kids, have to keep the lights on, and they want to eat all the time. I could never understand that. Oh wait, yeah. Anyway, I was a chauffeur as a way. This is pre-Uber, and one day I get an assignment from a limo company in Tacoma, and get an assignment to go to the airport to pick this guy up to take him to his hotel. I have to wait around and then take him to the Moore Theater where he's performing that evening. So I go to SeaTac, you stand there with a little card, and the guy's name is McCoy Tyner.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
So McCoy Tyner, I've got a Lincoln Town car, not a stretch, just a full size Lincoln Town car. I was only supposed to pick him up, but there was a bass player with him, and so we shoved the guy's stand-up bass in the front seat of the town. I'm kind of driving, not that you can see me, but I'm kind of like leaned over as the thing's like, and McCoy Tyner's in the back seat talking to this bass player whose name I can't remember, but he was telling the guy about being on tour with Coltrane in the late 60s in a station wagon driving around America.
Crazy.
I was just like, and I knew I was getting this assignment, so I went down to the Tacoma Public Library and I checked out a couple of McCoy Tyner CDs because I'd never heard of him.
Right.
But anyway, so I'd listened to a couple of his CDs. Anyway, I drop him off at his hotel and I shake his hand, and what I realized is I was shaking this man's instrument, like how this man makes his living, and his hand. Right. It was very just. You could tell it was he wanted to shake hands. I don't mean it like that, but it was like, please don't hurt my hand type. So I shake his hand and he goes, okay, you'll be back in a couple hours. I go, great. So he was playing at the Moore Theater that evening, and I had to drop him off at the Moore, and then I had to pick him up after the show. So I'm in the alleyway behind the Moore Theater in a black suit, black Lincoln Town car. There's not a lot of activity around a McCoy Tyner show. I mean, there wasn't a lot of groupies, right? All of a sudden, this 10 or 12-year-old kid and his mom show up, and he's holding a couple of record albums. The mother comes up and she knocks on the window of the car, and I roll down the window. She goes, "Are you here to take Mr. Tyner away?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "Do you think you'd sign an autograph for my son?" I'm like, I don't know. I said, but when he comes out, if I can ask him, I will. She goes, oh, thank you very much. So he comes out the back exit in the morning, get out of the car, it was kind of this metal stairs, it's not exactly it's not the front entrance of the place. And I said, Mr. Tyner, there's a young kid over here like an autograph. He goes, I don't sign autographs. And I said, sir, he's been standing out here for like an hour. He just wants to have you sign on a record. Would you do that for him? He goes, oh, okay. And so he goes over, and it wasn't like it was above or beneath him or anything. It was just like he was just got done performing. He wanted to go back to his hotel. Anyway, he talked to that kid for half an hour. And what I want to know is all these years later, if that kid is still playing piano.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because that might have made that kid's, that might have inspired that kid to just keep going. But anyway,
yeah,
tangentially Coltrane related.
Very well, directly, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
he played
the guy who played Favorite Things in the recording. That amazing Favorite Things recording. So anyway, and Love Supreme, I think.
Okay.
And a zillion other things.
So I have one last question of you. I warned you about this question. Very important. The whole success of this episode hinges right now. You ready?
All right. I'm ready.
All right. Cake or pie, and why?
Cake. It's easier to make.
I don't think anyone has answered. I don't think anyone has answered like that. Okay, what
Pie's
type of
harder.
cake?
Victoria sponge.
What on earth is a Victoria sponge?
I watched way too much British Bake Off during COVID, and I learned how to make a Victoria sponge. It's a very basic. It's kind of just a vanilla cake with jam in the middle.
Okay.
Powdered sugar.
Okay.
It's a very basic, delicious cake, but if you make it right, it's very good.
Okay. So cake
with the right flavoring. Yeah.
You're in Camp Cake. All right.
Yeah, it's easy. Well, just because I don't think I could do a pie crust. It's just too tricky.
Okay. There's no wrong answer here. Some people, you think I'd ask him to cut off their right or the left hand. They're just like, okay. And other people are just like, nope, it's this.
Well, I'm a selfish person. I'll enjoy my birthday. I've just never asked for a birthday pie.
Right.
So
right. So okay, if you're asking for a birthday cake, what do you want the birthday cake to be?
I was born in August, and I like a lemon birthday cake, like either a bundt or some kind of lemon with lemon icing.
Yeah,
I like lemon cake for my birthday.
Yeah, that's very solid. Very solid. Well, Wade, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is exciting. What's going on at the Grand? I hope Merylthon is a smashing success. I have a suspicion it will be. I just think it's going to be. Yeah.
I agree.
So the 4 theaters, how many people do the 4 theaters seat?
Well, so about 3 of them are about 100 people.
Okay.
Give or take. And then we have one smaller one that's 76.
Okay. So
I call that the billionaire's hideaway, because it's like you're in a private theater that a billionaire owns.
Okay. All right.
At least that's what I'll say.
I have yet to go into a billionaire's home, so I can only take you for your word.
Hey. You'll see when you get there. You'll be like, I feel like I'm in a billionaire's home.
Maybe you should find a local billionaire to name that.
I hope. Yeah, that's what maybe that's why I'm saying that. A billionaire might say, "Oh, that'll be my. Yeah. I can go in there anytime I want, because he gave us, $500 million just for fun."
That would probably come with some privileges, wouldn't
it? Maybe.
Would it include free popcorn though? I'm just.
Oh yeah, it might. I don't know though. Those who pay should pay extra. They should pay like $50 for a bag of popcorn.
Isn't that what movie popcorn costs these days?
No. Ours is very fairly priced, and it's very good.
Okay. So what's the secret?
It's fresh.
What's the secret? Why do you? Why are you? I'm not. I am putting you on the spot, but why are you saying your popcorn's good? What's going on there?
Well, we clean our machine every single night. A lot of places don't do that. We use the right kind of oil, which is usually a blend of coconut and vegetable oil, which is the right kind of oil to make it nice and crispy. and we make it freshly kind of throughout the day rather than making a huge batch of it to let it sit for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And we use the best kind of kernels that you can get, the pricier kernels.
Okay.
Yep. Oh. And we have real butter.
Well, you got me there. So.
And we have a whole rack of spices that you can sprinkle on. That is, you can just put it on yourself, like garlic powder and nutritional yeast for those who know.
Yeah.
And cinnamon and sugar and garam masala. Yeah. We have some fancy. It's very fancy.
That's kind of cool.
Pepper. Yeah.
All right.
It's very exciting. It makes popcorn. You know, it's sort of, you get your bag of popcorn, and then you go look at our little spice rack, and you go, ooh.
Yeah. What am I going to try
I'll try
tonight?
one of those. Yeah, exactly. It's very.
How can this accent the film I'm going to watch?
You have to think that through. Otherwise, you might have a mismatch.
My popcorn doesn't go with the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't go. Yeah. You come back out and get a new bag then.
All right. Well, Wade, thanks so much. I appreciate your time.
You too, Scott. Thank you very much for having me on.
Hope you enjoyed the show. You can reach me on Twitter at ExploreWaState. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also visit our website at explorewashingtonstate.com. If you know anyone who would like the show, it'd be amazing if you'd share the show with them. This is the biggest way that we grow this show. Good old word of mouth. I'm glad you were here with me today, and I hope to have you listening to the next episode. See you then.